What is going on? Welcome to the 11th Island. I'm Brad. That's Chris. UFC Fight Night. Ciryl Gane versus Alexander Volkov just ended. Ciryl Gane defeated Volkov 50-45, 50-45, 49-46. Pretty clean decision. Chris, how did you see it, and what did you think of the fight?
This fight's gonna go a lot of ways, a lot of different ways in a lot of people's minds. Some people are gonna say that it was a bit boring for a heavyweight fight. I mean, it was very technical, a lot of point scoring, something you would see more indicative of lighter weight classes than the weight class where they're just throwing. Especially when you throw in like two guys that are just excellent strikers. I mean, Gane, huge knockout reputation, never really got close to anything like that against Volkov. I think the interesting part of this matchup, I mean, first of all, this was a pick'em going basically a pick'em. Anytime someone's at just like minus 100 whatever odds, I consider that a pick'em. Really, that's how Vegas wins. They just take pick'ems and put them like that. But I think that Volkov really needed to keep the distance from Gane, keep him away. He has that huge reach advantage. I mean, Gane is not used to fighting guys that are much bigger than him. I mean, Gane is usually the biggest guy in the room. Volkov just has that reach over him, and he just was not able to keep Gane away right from the onset. So these guys come out. I mean, they were trading leg kicks, and I think there was a recognition from Volkov of just the usual from me using my distance is not going to keep him away from me, because Gane was able to stand in the paint and withstand the storm, and that set the tone for the whole fight.
Yeah, I agree. And like I agree with the judges here. I saw it 50-45 Gane across the board. Round one was debatable in my opinion, and that's why I think you see the 49-46. I like what you were saying, where it was kind of a fight indicative of what you would see in lighter weight classes, because the story was technical striking and volume, volume, volume. And now in the heavyweights, you don't normally see that. You see guys coming in with big power shots and kind of gassing themselves early, especially in a 5-round fight. So it was, I think you got to be kind of if you're a real casual here, you're kind of disappointed that the heavyweights aren't in these big knockouts. But it's a fight that MMA fans should like, just because of the technical, and it's kind of how the sport is growing when you have these massive men that have high levels of cardio, high levels of technical skill, especially somebody with Gane who's picking up the win here. This was his 9th professional fight as MMA. Let me clarify, because he did have some professional Muay Thai fights, which again plays into his high technical abilities and stand up. I'm sorry if I'm boring you there, Chris, but it's some like he's made some.
My eye was itchy. It was don't. You're so insecure about these things.
Yeah, I'm just playing with it. But for Gane, he's had one of the quietest rises to the top. He was the number 3 ranked heavyweight coming into this, and nobody's talking about him. Nobody at all is talking about him. He's very soft-spoken. He can speak English not as well as, I mean, he's English clearly as a second language. He's French. So I think Gane has high potential here. So what I would say to you then, Chris, is what do you want to see next for Ciryl Gane coming off this win? And I think this is, I think this almost becomes a discussion, because there can be a lot of things going wrong in the heavyweight division that could put him on the shelf.
Yeah, and you have in your back pocket just all the problems, the issues with the heavyweight division, and we'll get into that in a second. But to be a little bit optimistic and look less so, okay, this is what's going to happen with it. Like, this is what we do next. This is what's going to happen. We're going to put this guy with this guy. But just looking to the future, to have a guy that has now really proven himself in 2 fights as a very technical fighter that's willing to learn the opponent, know what what his greatest thing is. Volkov, it's just the reach and the ability to use his legs, the striking, the jabs, keep him away, keep him at distance, and to be able to counter that in a way that's not, I'm going to count it. It's not necessarily a good defense or a good offense is the best defense approach, where I'm just going to knock this guy out before it's a problem. No, I'm going to be able to stand in there, take a few shots just to show him that your strength is not that big of a strength against me. And I think that is a really intriguing thing when you throw a name like Francis Ngannou out there, where Francis is very much the antithesis of that, the complete opposite of that approach. And I mean,
I'm glad you clarified because I wasn't picking up what that word meant.
and it didn't help that I said it scuffed. I'm trying to pseudo intellectual out here doing a MMA show.
More big words. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a communications degree. Let's go.
Yeah. So, like, I'm currently doing rhetoric. I'm a student of rhetoric. I studied Plato so that I can talk about UFC fight nights on YouTube.
Yeah, let's go. But I think so. So what do you think? I think there's a couple, like, you didn't answer my question. You went around it with your big words here.
Of course I
think
did.
there's
Because who has an answer?
Okay, so I think I give you an answer. I think there's, what does Ciryl Gane deserve? It's the title shot. He deserves to be next in line after Lewis and Ngannou fight. What is he going to get is all dependent on Jone Jones. Does Jone Jones want to sit on the shelf, continue to bulk for however long he feels like bulking? Then you're going to sit there and you're going to wait. And if you don't want to take a lower ranked opponent, there's nobody above you. So unless you convince Stipe to fight him, not happening. Stipe's fighting for title or bust, which there's a good argument that even after Lewis and Ngannou, that Stipe, if Jone Jones decides to sit away, can get that fight. So Gane deserves the title shot. The odds of him getting a title shot without fighting at least once more are slim to none, in my opinion. Do you agree?
And that's why I danced around the answer, because there is no answer.
You gave the political answer to that question.
Yeah,
with
I
your
gave
big words.
Yeah, with I'm doing PR for Dana here. I'm trying. I'm just trying to deflect on the fact that the whole thing's been taken hostage by a guy named Jone Jones.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think, if just to kind of finish her off here too with Volkov, I think for what's next for Volkov's got to take a step back. And I hate to say this about him, but he's almost got to be putting kind of a gatekeeper role where you give kind of maybe a Tom Aspinall, kind of a hot prospect that's in the lower levels of the rankings, give him a big jump up, try and boost your name off of Volkov.
Yeah.
Anytime you can say he beats Volkov, who has great pedigree in this sport, won championships in other organizations. Like, he was the Bellator heavyweight champion, which is nothing to slouch at, right?
Yeah.
So anytime you can build a guy's name off of him, and at the same time, Volkov's young enough where if you get that win, you kind of immediately propel yourself back up, and you're always a couple wins away.
And I mean, the whole gatekeeper thing for the fighter that just lost, that has been around the block a few times, now has a big name. We don't really know what to do with you in terms of going up. It's a hard sell still. A lot of people, the second you get a guy certain amount of ranks below you, writing's on the wall. People want to avoid it. We've seen it happen to a lot of our favorite fighters in the last year. But I think the interesting sell for Volkov here is that there's so much going on above you. Everything above you is so tied up right now that even if you had won this fight and you were on, you're still going down. So it's, let the things going on at the top happen, because you're either going to be sitting around waiting, or you can be fighting and continue to bring in paychecks, and keep building your name, continue to build your name. And I think this is an interesting time for Volkov to be able to take a step back, take some time off, take what he needs to recover from this fight. It was 25 minutes, that is taxing. So just take that time off, see who they give you, and just bide your time, get better. And I mean, who knows how this stuff's going to blow up, because you could have Jone Jones taking the belt and then being like, okay, I'm going back to light heavy, or he could retire, he could leave. There's a lot is going to be up for grabs in the heavyweight division that is just not up for grabs right now. I think this is a good time for Volkov to, take a step back.
And with that being said, I think people in the comments, let us know if you think Gane deserves the title shot, and let us know if you think Jone Jones is ever going to make that heavyweight debut, or if we're going to be sitting here 20 years still teasing it. Let us know in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more immediate reactions, and stay tuned for more interviews. If you haven't checked out our interviews, we have some with some UFC fighters, and most recently, Matt Nichols, QB the Ottawa Red Blacks. Till next time, see ya.
Have a good rest of the weekend.
Yeah, don't be afraid to cut that.